All right, what's up, everyone? I'm just pumped to be here with one of my new homies today. Not a kill. A kill's still my homie, but one of my new homies, Josh from Ren Financial Group. Josh, it's an honor to have you on the episode. I've heard lots of good things about you. I finally met you in person in January, and
Finally.
dude, you lived up to the hype. And dude, you got a wicked setup here. I'm just pumped to talk to you, man. How you doing, homie?
I am so excited to be on the podcast, dental specific. Never had someone that was a non-dentist on the podcast. You had Pressure, you had all these like OGs, all legends on. So hopefully I could give you some good tidbits. We're gonna have a lot of fun today. But yeah, it's a really great opportunity. Thank you.
For sure, man. Well, dude, tell us about yourself. Where are you from, and how did you get into this industry?
Well, how much time we got? We got
Man,
an
we
hour,
got
right?
all day, man.
Okay.
No, all day. Let's hear it.
So Ren Financial, I'm just a half, I'm just the darker half of Ren Financial. So Richard and I both come from humble beginnings. We're both from the south end of Winnipeg. I met Richard in grade 7. So we've been like, he's been by my side since 1998. So both of us come from like middle class families in Winnipeg. We went to junior high, then ended up going to high school together. And then from there, we were pretty much like inseparable. So how did that get from there to here? Richard's father, at the time and still now, is a very successful financial advisor in Winnipeg. So Richard had this nice, clear path of what to do. So right out of high school, guess what he did? He started working for Granite Financial, really started cutting his teeth, getting the experience. And it was a very big variable on how we got into this business. I, for another hand, first generation Canadian, my dad worked for like City of Winnipeg Transit, and my mom worked in the office at a small manufacturing company. So it was like most immigrant families, well, Josh, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, or you're going to be like a pharmacist or something.
Yeah.
I didn't see that happening, and I ended up going to kinesiology. And my dad was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm going to figure this out, Dad." So I went to kinesiology. The day before my convocation, I had 2 bags packed and left to Calgary from Winnipeg, because there's a saying in Winnipeg: if you don't leave before the age of 25, you're never leaving. So I'm like, I don't have a job. I'm just going to figure it out. So I moved out to Calgary and figured it out. And I ended up working in insurance. So that's how I kind of got into the insurance industry. So I worked in the claims department as an adjudicator and case manager. But, Neki and Akil, like, you probably have a good sense of me already. Like, do you see me working in an office, day in and day out for like 300 days a year?
I
It
feel like
wasn't.
you'd be like the claims department dude I'd want to get when my basement flooded, though. I'd be like, yo, Josh, hook me up with a deal, man. Let's be
I
honest.
would I would love to be that, but I would be like, hello, this is Josh. How may I help you? So, after a while, like the job, it's like every young Canadian's male dream. Every boy, it's like, I want to work in insurance. It just,
You know how you know
it's
how every office has just that one guy they keep around just for personality? I feel like you would have been that guy there. Just he makes us laugh, but he's not really good.
I called, like, I had my basement flooded, and I called the insurance company and was talking to this person. I would say for months, like months, dealing with them. And they were super nice and stuff. And I don't know what I said was, well, man, it was so awesome working with you. Thank you so much, sir. Like, I appreciate it. And then at the end of this conversation for months, she's like, Neki, I never wanted to tell you, but I'm actually a woman. And I was like,
Did your
what?
claim get denied?
No, she just had such a deep voice. I thought I was talking to a man this whole time. And it let that be a lesson for everyone. We don't need to judge over the phone. But I
No.
was like, man, did I just put my foot in my mouth? Am I gonna get my money?
How did that taste? Is that how third molars online start? is
Ouch.
because your foot was so far into your mouth.
It must have been, man. Oh, I could turn red just telling that story. I was so embarrassed, like so embarrassed. But
That never
anyways.
happened to me. But yeah, so I was working in insurance, and like I was in insurance for 6, 8 years, like kept on working there. And like Richard always wanted us to work together. We're like, like even in school, we did things together and it just worked out. Like we've known each other for so long that we could just call each other out on our bullshit. Like it was just a good relationship. So Richard got this special contract from Canada Life to sell group benefits to car dealerships, not dentists, car dealerships. So we were, yeah,
Like for your employees, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we were tasked to drive to every single small town in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta to visit every single car dealership. And you'd think that with the story, it went really well. It didn't. So
Yeah.
we're trying to figure this out. And I'm, like I wasn't bringing home any money. And mouth feed at home. And I had to be accountable to the risk that I put like myself and Richard. Well, like Richard and I kind of had the risk together and my family through. So I'm like, oh my God, we got to figure this out. And Neki, I think I told you about this. I ended up going for lunch in Winnipeg with one of my buddies from undergrad, and he ended up going to dentistry and became very successful, but still down to earth kind of guy. And we went for like Vietnamese or something like that. And I asked him, I'm like, so how's dentistry going? And he's like, it's awesome. It's dentistry. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And I was like, so who's your advisor? He's like, some guy from school that I talked to in like third or fourth year. I'm like, oh, cool. What's his name? He's like, I don't remember. I'm like, oh, that's weird. I'm like, what policy did you get? I don't know. The policy I signed for when I was in school. I'm like, what's your policy? He's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I signed for it and I pay for it. And I kept on asking him question after question, and he started getting annoyed. He's like, Josh, can you just deal with it? If you want to deal with it, just deal with it. And I'm like, and you don't know anything about your policies? He's like, no. So that was my first client going into this. And I told Richard this, and he's like, oh, like, I think there's maybe a gap here and maybe we should explore it. And then so many years later, I meet you, Neki, at like the FCDSA conference, and the rest is history. We just really focused on education and transparency and service. And we just looked at everything about the industry and we did the opposite. And I think that's why people have been coming to see us and dealing with us. Not everyone deals with us, but the ones that do have those variables in mind, and that it's really important to them.
So man, take this with no offense whatsoever. We're just shooting the shit here. Why do insurance? Because it seems like you're a really high energy guy. You like to, you seem like you like to shoot the shit too, but it's like, it seems like such a boring topic. Like, why pick that one? And this is coming from a guy who looks in people's mouths all day. So
the Bachelor of Kinesiology, it's really, really focused on human movement, right? Within the degree, we learned about rehabilitation. We learned about I guess physiology, anatomy, everything. So having someone with a beacon in insurance makes a lot of sense because you have a better idea of claims and underwriting. So when I'm reviewing documents or claim files and I'm looking at MRIs, ultrasounds, I'm not a doctor, but at least I have a better idea of rehab and how long this would take if it's related to the mechanism of injury. So what we used to say is insurance is where kinesiologists go to die.
Yeah.
It's like you can't be in like clinics anymore. You can't do that when you're 40 and helping people like rehab. And you can, but it's tough. So it was the easier path, and my parents really liked it. They're like, well, Josh, you have a full-time job. You have 40 hours. You have benefits. You have like they really, really liked it. So I was like, you know what? It's a safe path for now, but eventually who you truly are ends up like coming out but I definitely don't discount it at any moment, because the only reason why we're here is because of that awful time that I spent there. Right. And that's what kind of made me the expert in this field. And I'm able to share that expertise as well as the experience with all of our clients.
Dude, I see you as a guy, like I can just see you walking into all those car dealerships being like, can I talk to the owner, please? And the guy's like, no, I'm on lunch, or he's on lunch, and you can come back tomorrow. And you're like, but I just drove 9 hours here.
It's even worse, Necky. It's even worse. So Richard and I had this dog and pony show that we figured out that the gatekeepers for every single car dealership is who? The person at the front desk.
Totally, yeah.
So before we go in, I would go on the website and see who the GM or the CFO or whoever it was. And I would ask for that individual by name, like I already had an appointment. And I would come in with a coffee and Timbits for everyone at the front. I'll be like, Rachel, how is it going today? Like, like last quarter went well for you guys. Yeah, I heard all these things. Is Frank in? And she's like, yeah, he is here. Like, do you have an appointment? I'm like, I haven't seen him in a while. Like, could we go talk to him? And she's like, yeah, okay. And then like, it's kind of hard to kick us out once you're in the office, right?
Yeah. Using their own tricks against him. I love it.
I like
Can't outsell a salesman, right?
Are you a student of, because I think one thing in dentistry that I found apparent is you have to be somewhat of a salesperson, right? Like you have to sell your abilities, you have to sell your treatments, you have to sell something. And I think that's something that's just so discounted in education. Are you a student of sales, or were you just, born a good salesman?
I would love to say I was a student of sales and I had to grind it out and figure it out. But at any time that you meet my father, being a City of Winnipeg bus driver, Rich and I went to quite a prestigious high school in Winnipeg. So like the owners of the Jets, the Chipmans, their sons went to this high school. Like there was multimillionaires at this high school. And I would see my dad, again, City of Winnipeg bus driver, came to Canada, didn't know English. And he was able to talk and converse with, it didn't matter who. It didn't matter if they were a lawyer. It didn't matter if they were an actuary. It didn't matter if they owned a multi-million-dollar business. So I would want to say that I would want to give myself some credit, but I give it all to like my genetics, that it just came inherently that I was able to see my father from these kind of humble beginnings and able to talk to absolutely anyone with the absolute confidence, a little bit of arrogance, but absolute confidence that he's able to talk about any kind of subject. Yeah. So
but I totally see that. Like you have that ability to talk to anyone. I've always been curious though. And I find this is the only time I can actually be one-on-one with an insurance dude and actually ask him the questions I've always wanted to ask. So right off the bat, tell me about the psychology behind talking to someone about insurance.
Great question.
The psychology of talking to someone about insurance. So it's funny enough, I talked to someone early today and she was like, well, I don't want insurance. And I'm like, that's okay. That's fine. I just need you to understand why you don't want it or why it may be important. We talk about the need all the time. I could tell you, based on X amount of dentists I've dealt with, this is what they always get. Let's just talk about disability insurance because that's usually the most needed one because of the morbidity risk versus the mortality risk on life insurance. Back in the day, advisors would come into schools, be like, I know more than you. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've got 10,000 clients. You need life insurance, critical illness insurance, disability insurance. The reason why is you're going to make all this money in 5 years. So why not get it all done right now? That's not what we do. We look at the need. We look at the budget. We've got students coming back from Australia that just passed boards and they're coming home with $550,000 of debt. Do you
Yikes.
really need to put all that money towards insurance because you might need it in 3, 4, or 5 years because you're going to earn all that money?
Yeah.
Or should you be putting it towards debt with prime minus a quarter being like six and change, right? It's terrifying. So talking about insurance, we always just look at the need. I'm like, so what happens? Like, Necky, I'll just use you as an example. I'll be like, what are your liabilities like? Where do your money go every month? What happens if you being you are your best asset, right? Your money
Totally.
is based on you. You are your money making machine.
Yeah.
What happens if that runs dry? How much savings do you have? Would you get money from a spouse, family to take care of these liabilities? How long would you need that for? How about to the age of 65? How about beyond? How
Yeah.
about if you have mouths to feed at home? What are your hopes and dreams for your family, for your kids, whatnot? At what cost do you want to protect that? And everyone's like, well, Josh, I got 50 Disney stock. I've got crypto. I've got this and that. And I'm saying, well, how much Disney stock would it cost you to be able to fund your lifestyle until the age of 65? So it's not a matter I'm trying to throw in like fear into them. What we talked about the FCDSA conference and what I talked to about clients is I want to expand your perspective. Like going through dental school, you're using your line of credit. That's great because it's towards a goal. It's towards a dream. I get that. But when you're out of school after passing boards and getting licensed, you got to pay that back. There's a lot of things for you to really understand. So that transition from student to dentist is very, very important. So talking about insurance is about the need, talking about what it doesn't entail. Before we talk about anything, we talk about the cost. What's in it for me? What's my commission? What's my fees? So there's no hidden agenda. There's no smoke and mirrors. And they could see that, well, he's not making an astronomical amount of money on this. Like, why is this important? So it's just perspective and education.
Right on. I love talking to people that sort of are good at sales because I feel like they've sort of unlocked a level of understanding that the average person doesn't, right? Like I don't see sales as, as a simple transaction. I see it as you truly understand, how to convey a point, how to communicate really well. I just wonder when you're speaking to whether it's students, established dentists, is it easier to do you focus on turning a no to a yes, or do you focus on turning a maybe to a yes, or like maybe a yes, they're with the other provider to a yes, we want to come with you?
I don't think I'm here to change their opinion. And I think that there's a lot of better salesmen in the industry. There's probably a lot of better insurance agents. There's probably a lot of better portfolio managers. It's about how we do it that makes us different. Again, I think it's about education and educating them in the right frame of mind. If they don't want insurance, I got to understand why. And if it's I had a boyfriend that was an insurance agent when I was in high school or university, and I hate insurance, I'm like, that's fine. There's a way to self-fund it. We could figure this out. That's fine. I'm not here to change your mind, but I'm here to make sure that you understand the pros and cons of your decisions here. I want you, like everyone in dentistry are incredibly brilliant. We're so happy that we kind of fell into dentistry because there's people like
So
you.
true.
Like people at the conference. Every conference is just a party, and the people involved in dentistry, it's more than clientele. Like I have a lot more friendships because of this industry. So it's I'm not here to change their mind. Everyone's brilliant. Everyone's type A. I want them to make that educational decision on their own, knowing the information that I know, knowing the claims that I've had to deal with. I sit on the Alberta Appeals Commission looking at insurance claims, a hearing every single week. What happens if you're only able to do part duties? What happens if you can't do your job and your insurance doesn't cover you as own occupation and you have to do a different job? I see it every single week. Just based on, my experience and expertise, I'm able to sit on that board. And again, I'm not here to change people's minds. I'm here to make sure that they know the information so they're able to make that decision.
Man, I like that. I think you're doing exactly what a dentist does. And we're informing people about what's going on in their mouths every day.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's up to you to make the decision. Our job here is just to inform you. Unfortunately, when Neki graduated,
When was
there
that?
was 2009, not so long ago.
Graduated Neki was dangerous.
Graduated.
This is the mistake I made.
Man, this dude made a lot of mistakes. But anyways, I'm happy to share them all.
Yeah.
So I've already talked about other mistakes, but I want to talk about maybe an insurance mistake. And I don't know if it's a mistake or not. I'm not dead yet, so I can't tell you if it's going to pan out or not. So I bought my practice. Everything is going well in debt, right? I'm in debt. I'm paying off my loan. Loan was what, 3% back then. Now it's 6.25%.
Mhm.
My financial advisor says, time to get insurance. And the type of insurance I'm recommending for you is whole life.
Okay.
And I'm like, what the hell's whole life? Well, I'm thinking it's insurance for my whole life. And I'm like, perfect, man. I have no one to leave this to. I don't have any children. But he's like, but Neki, you're going to be earning a certain amount and you want to keep that money tax free. And through some insurance mumbo jumbo that to this day, I still don't understand. I can understand purchasing Disney stock, like you said, but I can't understand. I still can't wrap my head around all this insurance lingo. Neki, you're going to buy whole life, sign here, done. Okay. And then the second I sign, I start going online and reading Dave Ramsey in the States being like, don't you dare buy whole life insurance. And here I'm trying to claw back and feel like I'm an idiot because I have to pay into this for 7 years. And I to this day, I still don't understand. I feel like I made a mistake. Josh, help me out, homie.
I don't think you made a mistake,
But
but
can you explain to everyone what the hell is
sure.
whole life and why does every insurance agent want us to get it?
I'll tell you, I'll start at the end and work my way to the beginning.
Let's
Okay.
do it. Let's do
We'll
it.
do a little bit of memento here. The reason why financial advisors, people like me, want to sell it is its huge amount of commission.
Really?
It is the holy grail of commission because, on average, dentists will put in, I don't know, between 12, 20, 50, 100K a year to save on taxes into a whole life or UL policy. And how has anyone talked to you guys about commissions?
No, that was our follow-up question.
Okay.
Yeah.
How we get paid is, let's just break it down to, for illustrative or discussion purposes only, we'll just use a term life insurance policy for like $1 million.
Sure.
So you have $1 million policy and you're paying, I don't know, like $400 a year for 20 years.
Sorry, can you, before we get too far, $1 million policy means what?
So if you die, your beneficiary would get $1 million, just a life insurance policy. For let's say 500, round number, $500 a year that you're paying for it. Your insurance advisor or financial advisor would get $500 in commissions. There's a base commission and bonus, but rule of thumb is how much you're going to be paying on an annual basis. Your advisor is going to get that one time. Okay.
So they get that full commission once, or that full amount, that yearly amount all at once. Okay. Yeah.
So it's nice when young, good looking Dr. Neki Jamal puts in whatever, it's like 20K coming to me as a commission is really, really good. Right. And then there's subsequent recurral fees, like trailing commission fees, like 3 to 5%. Right. But 3 to 5% is pretty good if you have a 6-figure whole life policy going into it. Right. So that's the reason why it's very lucrative for financial advisors to offer this or sell it to clients, whether it works or it doesn't work. It is something that we have in our tool belt. It is something that we do not unsheath very often unless the variables all align. And we talk about ROI with our clients all the time. Is if I send you 1 million spreadsheets, and well, when Rich gets onto the podcast, he'll show you his Excel magic, but it has to have an ROI for our clients. We give it to their tax lawyer, we give it to their accountant. Everyone has to be on board before we do any kind of app. Because if the only person that is going to be profiting from this is me, what are we doing here, man? So,
Josh, A, where the hell were you back then? But B, who does whole life work for? Who is the professional that whole life that this system works for?
A whole life, so we'll just call it permanent life or permanent life insurance, because there's whole life par policies or universal life, both being permanent life insurance policies. Okay.
Yeah.
Who does this work for? I would say those with corporations who are actively getting a lot of passive income from investments within their corporation, to the point where they're going to let their small business deduction be removed because their passive income is becoming too ludicrous. They're earning so much money in their corp that they're at risk of losing that small business deduction. So you put that money into a permanent life insurance policy where it's able to grow within the policy and it's not going to lose your small business deduction. That's as simple as I could put it. When would that be appropriate in the career of a dentist? Would be once, I would say, near the end of your business loan for your clinic. And as long as you're not wanting to buy another clinic, because when ATB or RBC or Scotia is looking at giving you another loan, how would they look at this asset that you have in your corporation, right? Is it that liquid?
Yeah.
It is, like, you can dissolve it and you could borrow against it, it's flexible enough, but it's not cash, right? So
This is the policy you're referring to, right?
yes,
Okay.
it's a great tool when it's right for the client. It's not something I would recommend to anyone within their first 3 to 5 years of associateship, if not even once they become a clinic owner and they've got this huge overhead and they're trying to like you're probably going to earn less as a clinic owner in the first couple of years than as an associate because you have to pay off this business loan, you have overhead. I get it. So it's something that we'll take a look at years and years down the road when it's appropriate.
So to put it simply, what you're saying is you need this tool to, like, the reason you're saying you want to really use this tool when you're at the tail end of paying off your loans and your debts is because once that money that you're earning stops going to those loans and debts, you're just going to start ballooning this amount of money within the corporation and you need something to do with it. Otherwise, it's going to cause some.
It's a great problem to have, right?
Yeah, but it's going to cause problems with the
And it's
tax
not
man.
your only tool by any means. You have capital gain strips. You use flow through shares. But that's another podcast we could go into. It's only one tool. It's like if you're going to build a house with just a hammer, it's not really a good contractor you have. It's one tool that you're able to use and something that works well specifically for dentists who earn a great amount of money. And I told a lot of students this at the conference. Dentist, you've made an incredible decision. If I could be a dentist, I'd be a dentist. I'm not. You're going to have a wonderful career. How wonderful your career is going to be depends on the team that you have behind you. So, yeah, it's a great tool for dentists who make it to that point.
So Josh, like, one problem that I see, and I think Neki sort of so beautifully exemplified that in that story he told, is I feel like we have an epidemic in, not dentistry, I would say we have an epidemic in the world, which is people afraid to ask questions because there's this ego, right? And this ego wants you to know everything. And this ego, tells you that you're stupid if you ask questions or that you don't understand. I think part of the reason why Neki and I work so well together is because we ask all the stupid questions, right? Because there's no judgment here. We'll ask you what revenue is, right? But I think there's this problem, and I see it quite a lot in dentists because we're high achievers, we're type A, we know a lot, we've always been at the top of our class, is that we don't ask questions. And when we don't ask questions, we end up in situations like, Neki was in, or I'm sure a lot of other people are in when they don't want to ask those questions. How do you you work with dentists all day long. How do you get around that? How do you proactively get around that and try to give them their information and actually test if they understand what you're saying?
I ask them, like, how much is your ego and your time worth? How much are you willing to lose in cash to have your ego intact and to not pay fees? Again, we talked about this at the conference. initially, based on our data and the clients that we have, first year associate, their time's worth $100 an hour. As soon as you continue with your career, it'll be north of $200 an hour. And let's just take not specific into investing, but investing practices. Let's say you want to do your own investments. That's fantastic. Everyone thinks that they could do their own investments. Social media has been great about that. Everyone's about crypto and Wall Street bets, and I'm getting Bed Bath and Beyond. I'm going to get 200%. That's great. That's great. That's not what we do, but that's fantastic. And we see it all the time. People lose big money, like 30%, 50%, and they're okay with it because they're saying, well, Josh, I didn't have to pay you guys fees. And I'm like, our fees aren't even that high. Like what's 1.9%, like right off the bat, and it'll decrease as you continue to make money. Like, is that enough money for you to lose 50% in your TFSA or RSP? And as soon as we put it into numbers and variables and put it on a spreadsheet and take a lot of emotion out of it, they're seeing, well, the only person that it's hurting is themselves. Sure, well, Josh, I'll put it into like a balanced portfolio on Quest Trade. Look, they're only charging me 0.6%. I'm like, you're only getting 2.5% a year.
But you're not still with mom and dad's guy, are you?
Young dentists love mom and dad's guy. Absolutely love mom and dad's guy. So we see it all the time, and we're not for everyone. Having a private investment firm like us deal with money is very foreign. And it was foreign to me too. Like, when I was growing up, my parents and we dealt with a credit union that was 2 blocks away. What else did my parents know that was any different? They didn't know about these tax strategies or anything, because we didn't have that kind of money for it to be even applicable. So a lot of these students are cut from the same cloth, that they're coming out, they're like, well, I don't really understand what you're talking about because my whole family was never exposed to that. And I'm like, I'm just here to educate you. Whether you deal with us or you don't deal with us, if you get one piece of information, valuable information that helps you with your career, I could sleep well at night. We're helping the dental industry. And what I know for a fact is, if you continue to offer good advice and help people, the industry will come back and help you eventually, right? So that's kind of our MO.
Dude, I absolutely love it, man. But back to Akil's, us asking stupid questions to you. I got to ask you the question I've always wondered. When I die, how does the insurance company know that I've died of natural causes and they pay out? How does this whole process work?
Who's your beneficiary?
I don't know. My dad? Akil, it's Akil. I got to rewrite it. Oh, there's a death claim.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you have a goodwill?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as you have a goodwill, and I assume that your insurance is corporately held, and the beneficiary is able to take care of that asset and take the insurance from, because life insurance and certain insurances have to be structured appropriately, or else it's not tax efficient.
That's right.
Yeah. So as long as you have a goodwill, you have a beneficiary, they should be able to get the money from your PC tax free. But there has to be a death claim.
But how does that work though? Say I'm riding my motorbike and I crash, and Sun Life, and my dad calls Sun Life, hey, my boy Neki died, give me my money.
Yeah.
How but Neki was riding a motorbike. I thought he didn't ride motorbikes. Is there all these questions that go on, and then the insurance company tries to not pay out, just like dental claims?
Not necessarily. However, what has occurred, there's common exclusions on your policies. You'll see it on the first 3 pages of your policy. You can't get hurt or die in the act of war, or doing a criminal activity or something like that. That's a common exclusion. But let's say, and I talk about this, I had a disability application this morning from University of Sydney grad, And before any application, I tell them, let me tell you the consequences of lying on your application. I'm not telling you that you're going to lie, but I think every dentist, being type A, like both of you, need to know the why. Like, why am I doing this? Why should I tell you all this? Like, are you working for the insurance industry or are you working for me? Right. So why you need to be truthful and honest on an insurance application is, if you are, and we'll just use life insurance as example, and Neki, you're dead. Let's say you died due to lung cancer because you were smoking, and you said on your insurance application that you're a non-smoker. Sure, you could have started smoking after the insurance application. That's cool, right? Because you're underwritten at that time. How about if they find out that you are always a smoker? You're hooped, dude.
But is there always going to be like this investigation going on of you? Like, how do you know what's true? How do they prove that? That's where I get nervous, is like, I signed up for this thing when I was 25 and I'm going to die when I'm 75. I'm going to change who I am 10 times before then. Do you know what I mean?
As long as you didn't lie.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you didn't lie on the application and
at the
like,
time of the application, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do after. So you can be like a pack-a-day smoker after you fill out that application. But as long as you never touched a cigarette before, you could say you're a non-smoker.
Interesting.
There you go.
But so, Josh, like, there's so much to dive into here, because I think that there's so much misinformation, and it's hard to really filter through what's truth and what's not, because there's, you always got to ask who's got something to gain, right? I think we had someone on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and when it comes to finances, the first question he always asked, and I can remember he said this, he said, what do you have to gain, right?
Yeah. What are you going to get out of this?
And I think that is similar to insurance. Like, anyone that comes to you, you kind of have to take what they're saying with a grain of salt. You're almost trained to, because, like you said, in the first year or whatever the payment is, they get that as commission. But what do you see as like genuine, either misinformation or disinformation that's just out there? Because there's so many rumors about, lying on your application, or I know that there's this big thing like a couple months ago where apparently insurance companies were getting rid of the type of insurance policy that was supposed to insure dentists, and everyone was scrambling to like, I got a bunch of questions. I'm like, dude, I'm not an insurance guy. Why are you asking me? It's like, there's so much misinformation out there. Can you like touch on a couple of those topics?
So like myths and fallacies on the insurance.
Yeah, like Mythbusters them.
Oh, this is going to be a real exciting portion of your podcast here, guys. So
yeah.
This is what everyone wants to know, man. I'm dying to hear this.
I guess what people like ultimately think is that they deserve insurance, that if they pay into it, they deserve insurance. They don't understand that insurance is one of the oldest, like, I guess, industries, and it's a multi-billion. It's just a business, man, right? It's just a contract. I think the biggest myth that I have is CDSPI versus everyone else.
So true, man. Everyone thinks that they're the gold standard of insurance, right?
And I'm not here to sewer anyone.
I'll sewer them for you.
I'm just saying, okay, there is a significant difference. And people say, well, I could hold both policies. Do you think they're both going to pay out? Why wouldn't they pay out, right? There's something called the all sources max, where 85% of your earnings, that's the maximum insurance you can get for disability insurance. Most dentists get CDSPI policy and then a Manulife or Canada Life, whatever other policy. And it's more than their all sources max. So they're paying for two policies and they can't claim for the whole amount. So what is the point? You should have to disclose one or the other when you're increasing your benefits. No one ever does. So I'm not telling people that they did it wrong. I'm just educating them that go spend more money on both policies. I don't care. Just know that you're probably not going to be able to qualify for both if it's more than your all sources max.
Interesting.
Well,
so what? Go ahead.
Like, I think we were going to ask the exact same question. What was it that they were canceling, like that disability insurance? Like, I got that email and I was like, if I don't respond to this email, it doesn't really apply to me.
No.
So
So what was canceled is the Manulife ProGuard policy. So the Manulife ProGuard policy was like the preeminent great policy for dentists. There's something called occupation classes in disability insurance. 4As there with like physicians and lawyers and, you know, like low risk occupations. And there's 3A like chiros and 2A and 1A and so on and so forth.
yeah.
So eventually in the industry, they found out, damn, dentists claim a lot. And when they do, they claim for a while. So we're going to downgrade them from 4A to 3A, every single carrier, but Manulife. Manulife kept that 4A. And they had that stronghold on the dental industry when it comes to disability insurance. It was great. It was a great policy. There's nothing wrong with the policy, but it was the last company to get a 4A policy. So let's say, Akil, you go to 5, or let's just say 2 Honda dealerships, exact same Civic. One's $2,000 more than the other. That's all this is. It was a great policy, very similar to every other policy, but with the 4A designation, it was just cheaper. So I get a call from a Manulife representative in late August. They're like, Josh, I know y'all love dentists. There's going to be a change that's going to be announced on Friday. We're taking our product off the market. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. So they take it off the market and they say, you could apply for this policy until September 30th. So there is a flood of applications going through. The issue with this is they only gave clients, prospects, students, current associates a month to make that decision. And there is a rush on it. There's a little bit of FOMO, and dentists love FOMO. Well, you can't get this anymore. If you can't get this anymore, everyone else has it. You can't get this anymore. And I'm like, if the need's there, if you feel that, you know, this discount is enough for you to get it, for sure. If it's important to you, like every dentist has it, either Canada Life or Manulife policy. It's the last policy to have a 4A designation. That's important to you. Let's do an application. I have first year, second years, third years, fourth years, first year associates coming back and doing the applications. That's great. But you have advisors also saying, I'm going to pay for your first 6 months of premiums. I'm like, what are you doing? So now they're like, yeah, so there's all these different deals going about. I'm getting calls being like, well, Josh, this other group is paying for my premiums. Are you going to do that? I'm like, no. You know, you're going to deal with us for a certain yeah, it's not what we do. Yeah. We don't get paid referral bonuses. We do good work and we provide good service. That's what we do. So I'm not paying for your premium. I'm sorry. But it happened. There's a lot of people that ended up getting the Manulife policy, some for good reasons, some for not good reasons. But that being said, was it a mistake? If you look at long-term, if a first year dental student got the Manulife policy and they paid for it for 4 years and they're not earning money, it'll probably pay off in the long term, right? It's probably like drops in the bucket compared to the amount of income they're going to earn over the lifetime of their career, right? So that's kind of what happened. And now Canada Life now has the best policy out there for disability insurance for dental professionals.
Josh, so what can, speaking back to the student perspective, because it was, only students really that I heard this from, which is like, It was like the scramble. It was like, you got to sign up. You got to sign up. Like there was an official prompt that came from our school saying, we have no opinion on this, like, cause it got that big. So they had to put out a statement. And it was pretty wild, but what can a new grad or like a late stage dental student, like myself do to set themselves up for success?
I would take several meetings from several financial advisors. What we do is no different. The commissions are the exact same all across the industry. You don't pay for our commissions, the insurance company does. I always tell new grads, dental students, we should not only be your only meeting. You should learn, like, the relationship that you have with a financial advisor usually is longer than most marriages. It's like, we're going to be there for like the rest of your career. So one, make sure that individual is not going to retire before you, right? You don't want to switch when you're like 40 or 50, right? But Two, I tell them at any point in time that they hesitate texting me, hesitate sliding into the DMs, calling me, I can't do my job. I could only do my job if I'm aware of when I'm needed, right? I'll reach out, and you could probably ask a couple of my clients, like, I reach out enough. Like, how are you doing? Like, I want to know. But if there's any hesitation, I'm not going to have a gun to their head and being like, you're my client, you're my client for life. I tell them anytime that they feel that this relationship is soured, or, they don't feel comfortable, or let's say their spouse's cousin becomes a financial advisor that you need to support the family. I get it. It's not my policy. It's not my investments. It's not my life. It's not my career. Deal with someone who has your best interest in you. And if that's someone that you feel is someone else, I will have the form ready for you, and I will make sure it's signed. It's just, no one understands. It's just one form to sign to switch your policy. I tell students that your policy's here and you're here. You're at the bottom. Here, I'll put it on screen. You're here. Your policy's here. The insurance carrier's here. The advisor, think of us as an Instagram filter. Sepia, here. Rio de Janeiro, here. You could switch that filter anytime you want, and there's no charge of commission. It's just who could act on your behalf between you and the carrier. Not many advisors like to talk about that because there's a risk of losing your clientele, right? But I don't see it that way. It's like, if you have your best interest in your clients and you give them that opportunity, go for it. Like that puts a lot more accountability on me to be the best advisor out there. But if anyone's out there that want to switch advisors, that's all it takes is one signature. Your old advisor won't get like rebated, or they won't get their commission like clawed back or anything like that. It's just you found someone else that maybe you're vibing with. And that goes for my clients as well.
Man, I love your transparency behind all of this. I didn't know any of this prior, and I appreciate that. And in full disclosure, how much money do Akil or I have with you?
Zero.
Full disclosure, we are not clients of you. I really appreciate your transparency behind all this, especially for new grads coming out, because I didn't know. I just went to the dude here in town, like the other guy went to, and then you get kind of talking, and they see. Now I'm seeing that the whole commission structure is there. I didn't know any of that before, but you got to have some, because like now when commissions are in play and money's in play, has anyone ever tried to like get commissions out of you? Like, hey, I'll sign up, you give me half your commissions? Or has anyone tried to say, hey, I'll bring my homies over, but you got to give me your commissions? Or have you had ever stories like that?
All the time. I feel like my dad, it's like the old school Sri Lankans trying to get like some deals. It's like, uncle, let me get you a deal. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But it happens all the time. And it happens not only from accountants, lawyers, it happens from other dentists. Hey, I've got X amount of clinics. I'm sending you 3-4 associates. I need something back. And I would love more clients, right? I love meeting new people. I would love to be able to provide people with this service, with this education. It's just not in this way. People refer to us because how we do things is very different from advisors in Canada. What we do is not very unique. The fact that Richard and I are together, the fact that we deal with investing and tax and insurance, and we love being around dentists, and we got some decent connections. That's usually a reason why people deal with us. But yeah, we don't do that. It's not worth it. I don't, and really by, I think, legislation, or by like the Income Tax Act, we have to disclose that. And I don't think I would want to have the conversation with a client being like, hey, just letting you know that you got referred to me, not because we're a good fit, not because we're good at what we do, is because I paid for this opportunity. Yeah. So yeah, it's not our MO. It's not how we want to become the preeminent financial group in Canada. and beyond when it comes to dentistry. We'll do the right things, and I don't mind doing it slower by doing it the right way.
In an industry where, like you said, it's largely homogenous, right? Like everyone has the same access to the policies. Everyone has,
Yeah.
like the offerings are kind of similar. How do you stand out? Like how do you position your offering as the offering people should go with?
I think I said this 3 times, but what we do is not special. How we do it is very special. We try to take time with our clients. We learn their needs. We learn their backgrounds. We have a very good understanding that we're not for everyone. I don't want to deal with absolutely everyone. I don't want 10,000 clients. I want my clients to have an opportunity to call me on a Sunday night or Saturday morning, or for my folks in Sydney, Australia at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. I want to have that relationship with my clients. I think that's really, really important. That's the only way I'm able to provide them with what I promised them. And if there's anything that, brown fathers offer sons, is like, your word's your bond, because when I came to this country, I had nothing else. Right. So if I tell you I'm going to take care of you, I'm going to take care of you like my kid. So how we do it is very, very important. I I would like to say no one else in this industry, when it comes to financial services for dentistry, loves their job as much as we do. I'm sure there's probably people that do love their job as much as we do. I don't think anyone expresses it as much as we do. We absolutely love meeting young dentists, clinic owners, those that are buying into a clinic, selling their clinic, corporate dentistry, private dentistry. It doesn't matter. I think it's a very healthy industry. And again, I love working with Richard. Ren Financial was established in 1998. But we just made it official based on corporate documents, some years later. But we very much love what we're doing. And then I think just attention to details. We invest a lot into our clients, whether it's time, whether it's, your first $50,000 of investments is, commission free or whatnot. We could talk about that later. But we invest a lot into our clients. We do cash flow modeling for every single one of our clients for free, as long as you're a client, because one of our Australian grads loves this, and he told it to his family. You're no good to me if you're not making money. So of course I want to invest in you, right? Like, of course I want you to do well. Of course I want you to have better tax strategies. Of course I want you to pay down debt. Of course I want you to work, full-time as opposed to part-time. I want you to get that good job, right? I'm not looking for 10,000 clients. I want this amount of clients that are all growing together. So I think, what we do is not special. How we do it is very, very special, in our opinion.
So, Josh, I'm curious, like for dentists, especially newer dentists, they have this, they have this imagery when they graduate. Hey, one day I want to own 17 clinics and drive a Ferrari, whatever. That's the illusion that I think a lot of people have, and they think that's so glamorous when really that's just a massive headache.
Yeah.
When you're in the financial industry, like you are, like when you first start out, like you said, your vision is being one of the best supporting financial institutions for dentists.
Yeah.
What's your vision? Like, do you want to open little branches across the country, or do you want to stay in Winnipeg where you are? What's your thoughts? Like, where do you want to take this, man?
I think the visions of grandeur usually rests on Richard. Richard's when you see both of us together in Neki, I think we're very, very opposite. I think not having a strategy if things kind of blow up is on us. So we do have a plan if things starting to increase and accelerate at a certain point in time, how that would be carried out. Right now, we are, looking at Australia, all across Canada, U of T, Western, Dal, Ireland, the US, Boston, California. I see myself as being like the Rich Paul of dentistry. I want to be connected to the LeBrons. I want to be there negotiating your contracts, and I want you to be out there passing Kareem. I want you to be out there getting buckets, having a 20-year career in a safe and happy manner. I'm going to be the guy in the background, like at practice while you're shooting your free throws and I'm out there cheering you on. That's where I see ourselves. And again, whether we blow up and we don't blow up and we continue to grow at the rate that we're growing, I don't care. We really, really enjoy what we do. And if this is how big we ever get and this is it, I get to golf with my friends. I get to hang out with guys like you. We have the best job in the world, hands down. Hands down,
Dude,
best job in the world.
I see that from you. Like we are both massive. I think every dentist is a huge dork, no matter if we want to admit that or not. And we live and breathe these 32 white pearls in our mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that same energy in you. And, I may not share the same joy for insurance as you may not share about teeth, but I see that joy out of you. And I appreciate that, because the person that I want to be connected to take care of my money and to take care of my insurance, I need to have that energy. And so I appreciate you, Josh. And I think the future of dentistry in the insurance world is well taken care of by you. How do people get a hold of you, Josh?
You could follow us on Instagram. We're at Ren Financial Group. Our website's great. Slide into those DMs, guys. I dare you to see how quick I respond. I dare you to see it. Text me, call me, email me. We're here for you. Even if you just want to chat about options, you want to chat about, hey, you got a client in Whitehorse, you have one in rural Manitoba. How do they get into that? Hey, I'm looking at getting into dentistry. I'm coming out of high school and I want to do the 5-year program at University of Queensland. I heard there's changes at University College Cork in Ireland. Hey, I'm at NYU. Hey, I'm at Dalhousie. Hey, I'm at U of M.
Wow,
it doesn't
this is
matter.
full service here, man. I like that.
my man's on standby on Reels, so I love it.
He's gonna get you into dental school.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good investment. That's a good investment.
It.
Yeah. If I could do it all over again, I would love to be a dentist. It's like, you guys, like, PDC's coming around the corner, like the best party in town, like DIA down in the States, ASM coming in May. Like, it is an incredible industry and we are so blessed to be part of it.
Absolutely, man. Josh, thank you so much for coming on the pod. And
thank you.
We hope to have your partner, Rich, out here too. And I want to hear some more of these commission stories, because I feel like it got pretty shady and you're holding back on me, homie.
Yeah. Thanks,
we
buddy.
got time. Okay. Chat soon.
Okay. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, buddy.
Welcome to the Hi, I'm Neki. Is that a sweater?
Yeah, dude, it's the Hi, I'm Doctor sweater. Oh, dude, I see you got yours on too. Looking sharp, bro.
Dude, where'd you get yours from?
It was super easy, man. I just went on to our website, www.hiimdoctor.com. That's HIIMDR.com.
We have a website. We must be raking in cash from selling these sweaters.
Dude, we are killing it. I mean, if that includes losing money on every single sweater that we make, I think we're doing really well.
Yeah, Neki and I are donating all proceeds, which is zero, to charity, because we are losing money.
I wonder if the charity will pay us. I think we got something here, man. Let's keep on keep on losing money on every sweater.
Alrighty, guys, go check us out. hiimdoctor.com.
We'll see ya. So, Akil, man, what would you think about hanging out with Josh there?
It's the second episode we've done together where the after show is where the show really comes alive, and we're gonna bring Josh back on. But I just love his transparency more than anything. It's so hard to find people in this industry that you could trust. Like we were just talking about, I worked on Bay Street. Apparently where all the like unethical capitalists live and kind of prey. And it's like, in dentistry, I find I'm more deceived than I was on Bay Street,
Yeah.
which is such a contrast to what I thought going into it would be the case. I thought it was like, oh, we're all hunky dory helpers, and everyone just really wants to help each other. But that's not really the case, right?
No, and I think you see that a ton in the financial industry too, whether it's insurance or whatever. I even heard a story about Josh that he even showed his commission check to a client, and I just kind of blew my hair back because in what world does your advisor ever show you their commission check? And I think, as a client, I know that they're eventually getting paid somehow, but to know how much they're making off of the money that you're putting in there is astonishing. But when it's showed to you, it kind of, makes it look like it's in a different light, and maybe that removes a barrier in your relationship. I don't know. What do you think about that?
It's kind of counterintuitive, eh?
Yeah,
Like
like
you
I'm
would think,
trying to wrap my head around that.
yeah, like you would think showing a check would be, make people trust you less because they realize how much you're making. But at the end of the day, everyone knows, you need to keep the lights on too. But
Yeah.
dentists are just as, bad as anyone else, right? Like
Oh,
is
totally.
there a time where you're telling patients right up, be like, hey, I'm gonna make $400 for this MOD, or I'm gonna
Yeah.
make X for this crown? Like, I don't know. Do you do that?
Oh, I don't know, dude. If you're gonna pay me $400 for MODs, I'm gonna stop taking out wisdom teeth. I'm gonna start doing MODs every day. So, but no, man. Like it's just, I think the financial industry has been ruined by so many unscrupulous characters that maybe have taken advantage of other people. And, I have my list of people that I felt have taken advantage of me. But we're just so not trusting of people to manage our money that we've worked so hard for. And then when one person screws you over, it almost leaves this bad taste in your mouth for everyone else. And unfortunately, I think that's rampant in the financial industry. So maybe showing someone their commission check is a breath of fresh air, because then what left is there to hide? Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh is a really good example of someone that's just, taken a 180 spin on this industry. It seems like from his story, he came from outside the industry and kind of looked at it
Yeah.
with a fresh pair of eyes, which in my experience, I find that's where all the good solutions come from.
Totally.
It's not because, you're the son of the son of the son, or daughter of the son of the whatever it is, right? To like, you're not the heir to the throne, and you just kind of inherit all the same toxic traits of the way things have always been done. I feel
Yeah.
like that's something that Josh does really well, because he started in like selling group benefits to car dealers, right?
Totally, right? It's perspective. And I think once we start looking at different industries at different perspectives, they get disrupted. And I wonder if Josh is on his way to disrupting the financial management, insurance management industry for dentists. And I'm excited to see him go. And honestly, how can you not root for a guy like that? How can you not love a guy like that? Like, I don't have any money in his firm. Like, I don't buy any insurance from him, but I kind of want to, you know what I mean? Like, he's just the guy that you want to support. So I'm excited for him. I wish him all the best. And I'd love to bring him back and find out some more real stories of what shady things are going on in the industry. Cause I felt like he could have been a little reserved, you know?
Right on.
Yeah.
There's certainly a sequel coming to this episode with Josh.
Awesome, dude. Well, we'll chat soon, and we'll see you at the next episode.
Enjoy the episode, guys.